Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter
467.
and it is the third day of the week, aka the Spirit Bomb workout. I'm feeling very good right now, very excited for this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today, spring cleaning. So the main reason why I want to discuss this is because in the previous episode right here, I discussed just the rat pack mentality, and how that translates from video games and a whole bunch of other shit that I probably get into. But in today's episode, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the opposite of that in a certain sense, spring cleaning. Because at this point, by the time this video comes out, it'll probably be spring. So there's that, and I just wanted to discuss it a little bit more because it seems as though it's a interesting subject matter regardless. I've been wanting to talk about it for a little while, and I think the timing on this one will be just enough where I'll actually get it out in spring. So, spring cleaning. So before we even get into the idea of it and everything else and what goes on, really, I think I'll say this. Personally, I do spring cleaning all the time, usually around April, May. Around that time, I just say, fuck it, time to barrel the hatches, because for some reason during winter, you just kind of hoard shit. I think it's like a natural thing. Maybe I'm the only one who does this, but I think eventually, like, it's just a normal thing to hoard during the winter time, or just not care about cleaning as much. And you let things kind of accumulate over time. And I am one of those people. So I enjoy the entire, like, oh, it's kind of warm outside, time to clean. I don't know, it's like a weird association. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at that, and also some other associations that come in with the entire idea of spring, especially cleaning, and maybe the cleaning the slate and everything else like that, the growing of leaves over and over again. And we'll get into all of that, maybe some representations of what spring might mean and all this other stuff, and specifically why cleaning. But with that being said, though, I will see you, Mother Base.
All right, so start this day off with dumbbell AD press, which is pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand here today. Spring cleaning, which is the funniest thing ever because this episode will be released a day after it turned into summer officially. But that's just because life has been a little busy for me. But anyways, the reason why I want to discuss this is because that was something that I did, and actually it's probably something that I need to do again because I kind of half-assed it the last time, where spring cleaning was something that I want to do regularly. I'm not necessarily one to sit there and meticulously clean all the time, but I am one to take a day and be like, all right, time to clear out all the old bullshit. And I do that a lot because I wouldn't say I'm a hoarder, but I definitely just place things in certain spots and then forget about them. And then months later remember about them and then put them away in the proper spot, or throw away anything that might be old or expired or whatever. So I have a tendency to do that, but generally speaking, this always happens to me personally after winter, and I think that a lot of people this ends up happening to. I think that there is a combination of things like the seasonal depression, those types of things, the sun not being out as often, it just being fucking cold, and things like that make it so that people during the winter don't want to actually do things. And it's understandable. I mean, I get it personally. My house can get a little chilly in the middle of winter, and I don't want to be moving around and get hot if I'm wearing a sweater and then have to do that whole rigmarole of going, comfortable but not comfortable and moving around and all that other bullshit. Plus the idea of it being snowing outside or something like that just doesn't seem like fun. But I think that this also lends to the idea of the becoming of spring, how we can kind of go and be a part of that. It is an interesting thing that we have decided to start the new year in the dead of winter. It is as if we have to have a ramp up into the spring. It's as if we are melting from there, even though we are at probably the apex of the winter in January and February. But it seems as though spring, usually when it comes and when it is there, is usually a nice ramp up into the heat and a nice transitional period, depending on where you live, to the summer, where we can be basking in the glorious air of the summer heat and or just the sunshine that is outside for the entire day, which is always nice to see and feel. There is something nice there when it comes to that. And I feel like when it comes to that spring cleaning effect, the feeling that comes along with it is just a rebirth that you can see within yourself, where you can get the cobwebs of the old out of you, but also physically, but also spiritually, mentally. A clean home is a clean mind type of deal, which I think a lot of people don't take advantage of. I think that actually probably constitutes a lot of the issues with a lot of people when they do things like hoarding, but that's a different episode for a different day. Personally, I like to, whenever I clean, it does help clean the mind, because then there aren't things just lingering around. There aren't these memories or thoughts or feelings or things that are there to do, rather they are put away or held away for another day type of thing, or put in the proper place that they need to be put, rather than sitting on a desk for months on end needing to be taken care of. And I think that usually accumulates over in winter, and is a beautiful time when in spring, where you can actually sit there and take care of these things. And it's a very nice feeling to be able to get rid of those ideas and get a cleanliness that was not there for quite some time, especially because winter can last for obviously 3 months, but it can be cold for quite some time here. Well, here in my location, but generally speaking, depending on where you're at, it can be a long, cold winter. So it always feels nice to be able to get out of that, and the cycle of rebirth that happens within spring, where everything around you is also rebirthing around you, to clean out the old dust of winter and bring in the new life of the spring, is a very nice natural order of things that we have inherently grasped from nature and have embedded within us, regardless of whether we've kind of moved past it. Some people have, or some people just do it frequently enough where it doesn't happen. I think that everybody has their, at least for the most part, idea of when to kind of clear out the house, or clear out the area, to clear out the mind and rebirth into a new area, so that way you can kind of be free of those things that were holding you down a little bit. And it's very interesting to see the parallels between the world and how it cleans itself, and your world, because your world is small, or your world is your world, and how it can clean it out and bring a new life to it.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Spring cleaning. So the main reason why I want to discuss this is because this is probably something that I'm going to probably do realistically soon, because it is around that time of year and I feel like cleaning. But it's just an interesting thing that comes up, I feel like, every year around this time of the year. I notice that there's a clutter that all of a sudden gets a little too claustrophobic, and all of a sudden I want to get rid of a lot of shit. And or just use a lot of the shit that I've accumulated that's just sitting here. I have a packet of stickers here. Even though they're not necessarily great stickers, I still want to use them. So I'm going to use them. I have to figure out where I'm going to use them, but I'm still going to use them. But that's the entire point, is that I want to make use of these types of things, because I think sitting around and just sitting on them is just going to make things go to waste. I have a bunch of protein bars here that I have to actually look at the expiration dates on, because I need to figure out if any of them have expired so I can do a review on them. But even then, the cleaning idea is something that I would want to do regardless of whether my personal experiences have, whether or not I have these things just kind of cluttered or not. I would still want to do it even if I was somebody that regularly cleaned, did a deep clean, just because I feel like there is something to be said about there being the spring atmosphere, where you are preparing for the bountiful harvest of summer, and spiritually, I feel like that is what a lot of people end up going through, the abundance of what spring represents, and how it is the coming out of all things that is natural, and everything away from the hoarding and the shuttling down and the covering up of winter, and trying to just get past it and move along with it. And I feel like spring cleaning is one of those things that's just kind of nice to do, because a clean room is a clean mind, which is a clean soul. Cleanliness is next to godliness, which we will talk about in a different episode in its entirety. This one's just particularly for spring cleaning, because this is just a phenomenon I happen to have. There are some people that don't end up doing this, who will continue to hoard and are forever hoarders. That will also be a different episode, because that's a whole mental thing, and a whole other discussion. And this one, I just wanted to talk about the idea of spring cleaning, and how it feels like it's more of a spiritual thing than anything else. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. Kind of random, but still a continuation of something that I talked about before, so not that random. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy, stay safe out there, and stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.